Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the latest news and the press conference reaction this morning. Hope you're all doing well on what is another lovely day in certainly in the northeast. So, apart from if you're Eddie Howe, who's been suffering from an illness, of course, which is why Jason Tindall was the man with the microphone this morning, and it was very interesting hearing from Jason this morning. Eddie Howe was poorly and has been for a couple of days, but Jason Tindall expect him to be back on the sidelines on Sunday. So we wish Eddie Howe the best of health and a return back to the dugout. Now, also, Newcastle United have released, details of a match in Singapore for pre-season. They will be involved in the Festival of Football as part of an overseas tour between July and August. Newcastle will take on Arsenal at the National Stadium in Singapore. That will be on the 27th of July. No kickoff time has been announced there yet, but it will be the 27th of July, of course, in Singapore. So Newcastle certainly looking forward to the summer as well. And playing in Singapore, we're going to get some massive... it's going to be exposure, isn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt, playing over there. We all know how big the Premier League market is in certain places across Asia like that. And Singapore is huge for us, and especially taking on Arsenal as well. That is going to be a cracking pre-season game. Of course, we will have it covered on Matchday Live as well in the summer. Although I am away in Fuerteventura for that game, so Billy will be taking the commentary for that, no doubt. GData58 is a new member of the channel. Thank you very much, and welcome to Membership Club. Thank you very much for your support. Ivan Lee says, hurry, coming back to Singapore after 29 long years. Yeah, it's. I think there's a lot of Newcastle fans out there, to be honest, and I think we, like I say, club exposure is what it's all about as well, and certainly playing a top side like Arsenal, two of the better side in the competition. So John says Billy does the best commentary. Well, that's fair enough. He's very good at commentating. I'd like to think I am as well, but obviously Billy has fans without a shadow of a doubt, and rightly so, because he's an excellent commentator as well. So that's why we share the load, especially if I'm at home games, of course. Now, obviously, a lot of people have been on social media this morning about the game on Sunday, saying hopefully Onana keeps his place for Manchester United. Of course, two dreadful errors yesterday led to Leon managing to get a 2-2 draw against Manchester United last night. John says you are too, Paul, when you get excited. Thanks, mate. Listen, this Onana thing, I mean, Manchester United fans, is just a serious outpouring. I did watch Alice this morning, and what got me was I've never seen Alice so animated as she was last night regarding Onana and how bad he is. She was right what she says. She normally gives the poor and the crap players more the benefit of the doubt. So, she doesn't really go in for one player very much. But my God, the video she did after the game last night, she went for it. Big style. But, what are you supposed to do if a goalkeeper's like that? Julie says, watching Onana have a blinder of a game against us now. I don't think he will. I think, we've got to utilize the confidence. That's if he plays. There is an outpouring of Manchester United fans desperate for Onana to be dropped. And it's all over the media as well this morning. So there is a big chance that Onana will be dropped for the game, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Jason Tindall took the press conference this morning. And it was very interesting to hear from Jason because, although his nickname's Mad Dog and we think he's a bit crazy, he's very softly spoken, guys, isn't he? When you hear him talk, he is very, very softly spoken. And kind of the mad dog image just disappears a little bit, and you think, oh, he's a little pussycat. But obviously when he gets angry, it's a very, very different kettle of fish for Jason Tindall, of course. Now, also, when the press conference started, I was sort of watching it thinking, he looks really nervous today, Jason Tindall. He looks really nervous in that seat. And, of course, he's got big feet to fill. When you're standing in for Eddie Howe, who was so good in front of the media and is used to that on a consistent basis, whereas Jason Tindall, not quite as much. And, of course, he was asked straight away about Eddie Howe and said that he hadn't been at training for a couple of days, but, him and Eddie had been in constant dialogue, which is fair enough. Constant dialogue about the game and about what training that Jason is going to put in place on the field. So even though Eddie's down and out with an illness, which Jason said that it very rarely happens that Eddie Howe misses any kind of work, even when he's feeling poorly. So this must have been a nasty bug that he got, but constant dialogue. It just shows that Eddie, even when he's down and out, he will still do his very best to get information across to Jason and the rest of the guys for training. So, look, I don't think that'll affect anything towards the build-up for Manchester United. We've got some very professional players, a very professional coaching system there in place. So I'm under no doubt that the training would have been just the same. The players would put the same effort in because they know, Eddie's watching on from afar, but Jason Tindall is watching right there, and he will report back to Eddie if anybody didn't pull the fingers out, of course. It's I don't think that's going to affect anything to do with the game on Sunday, so don't worry about that. And he is expected, Eddie, to be back on the bench on Sunday. Whether he's feeling 100% or not, I'm sure he will want to be sort of right in the thick of the action, I guess, against Manchester United. Of course he will. This is Eddie Howe we're talking about here. He won't want to miss anything. But ahead of the game, Jason said it's another important game for us. We'll prepare the same for Man United as we did for Leicester. The lads know how important the game is. With only 8 games remaining, it's a game we're hoping to do well in and to deliver the performance we know we can to win the game. Now, obviously, he's going to say that because that is normally how Eddie starts his press conferences as well. When he's asked about the game, we'll do our best, we'll do this, we'll do that. But I think there's a genuine belief now in the Newcastle United camp that we can go against teams like Manchester United, who are having a dreadful season by their own making, really. They're having a dreadful season, and we can stick the knife in a little bit further. Ruffy Benisian just pointing out that there's a few tickets for the Man United game gone up on sale, but you'll have to be very quick to get them. John says that's good. If he's not feeling so great, he might be a little more aggressive and no slacking off like at Leicester. Well, I think the Leicester game, John, was very, very different to what we'll see on Sunday because there is a rivalry there. Jason was, that came across in a question this morning, that there has been a rivalry with Manchester United for a number of years now, dating back to when they caught us from 12 points down and things like that. Despite what Man United fans say, there is a rivalry there, no doubt about it. They will sing about Shearer all the time till the cows come home, and because that's all they can sing about Newcastle United. Because we certainly had the better of them of recent games. We're on a high at the minute. And I think it's given everybody a boost, the fact that, Arsenal beat Real Madrid the other day. And it's top five now in the Premier League. Will qualify for the Champions League. I think that's given everybody a boost who is chasing these positions. But the good thing about it is it's all in our own hands, guys. 100% all in our own hands now to qualify for the Champions League. And these 2 next games coming up is going to be fantastic if we can get 6 points. It's going to be a difficult game against Manchester United. They have improved a little bit. I still think that the defense is awful, and we can utilize that to our benefit, definitely. And then Crystal Palace during midweek, that's going to be a toughie as well because Palace are playing really well right now. And they're playing with a free-flowing attitude at the minute where they're picking up points left, right, and centre. So the Palace game is going to be difficult as well. But it's genuinely 2 games that I believe we can get 6 points. And if we finish the next 3 on a winning, consistent basis, we're going to be a wonderful position for the final part of the season. Absolutely wonderful position. Dan Robinson with a super chat. No rival with Man United. We're light years ahead. Yeah, I remember the fans used to say that at Manchester United, didn't they? We always got, we're not rivals. There's nothing to do with Newcastle United. We're way ahead of Newcastle. That used to be the Man United fans' excuse. And now it's simply the fact that we're ahead of them and they're a long way behind us. I mean, yes, obviously, historical wise, they are. They've gone fantastic and things like that. So, yeah, we'll get there eventually, though. Butch with the super chat saying, Paul, your thoughts on the reported Cunha interest? Yeah, I saw that. Listen, I tell you something right now. He is a wonderful player. But there is going to be a lot of competition for Cunha in the summer. Now, Newcastle apparently have already made contact with his representatives, as they have with Hyson at Bournemouth. So, wheels are in motion now, aren't they, about, what we're going to be doing in the transfer window. Cunha would be a brilliant sign. And the only thing that worries me a little bit about Cunha is the attitude that I've seen from him at Wolves. It can be a little sort of up and down. But look, they will have done their homework on this guy. If they feel like his attitude isn't as bad as everything's been made out to be in the press, etc., and they do their due diligence on him, yes, they'll go for him. But there is stiff competition for him, absolutely. But what a job he could do at Newcastle United. He's a signing I'd definitely love to see come in. Absolutely, 100%. But it's got to be, again, it's got to be the right deal and it's got to be the right attitude. I'm seeing some people in the chat saying he's coming with baggage. Yeah, has he got that much baggage? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure he has. We've seen a few times at Wolves where he's just gone a little bit, but maybe we need a player like that, a player or two like that in the squad. Just a little bit woof. And I think Cunha would be a brilliant signing, but there is so much competition out there for him. Massive competition. So again, it's exciting for us though, because these are the kind of players that we're going to be aiming for. And I think if we get Champions League football, then that puts us, above some of the competition who won't be in Champions League. Manchester United, for example, our opponents on Sunday. I'm looking through their sort of YouTube channels and fan channels and things like that, and I'm thinking these guys still think that they can bring in the elite players when they're sitting in the bottom half of the Premier League. Now, granted, if they win the Europa League, they'll be in the Champions League next season. That's why I think this is massive for Manchester United to concentrate on the Europa League. And Goldbridge was talking about it last night, thinking that maybe Manchester United don't put out the strongest possible side on Sunday because they need to look at the Europa League, because the Champions League for them would be massive. If they can win the Europa League and get into the Champions League, that will save their season without a shadow of a doubt. So maybe that they don't put the strongest side out possible on Sunday. They haven't really got anything to play for in the Premier League right now. Their main goal is going to be the Europa League. So it may benefit us if they put out some of their second string on Sunday. But for us, the likes of Cunha, etc., they want to play in the Champions League. Absolutely they do. And every player that we are linked to seems to want to be in the elite competition, which is why I think it's vital that we get in that top 5 and we can attract the very best players from around Europe and from around the world, really. Now, this is what he had to say on Eddie Howe. He's been really poorly in the last couple of days, but we've been in daily contact. We've been speaking 3 or 4 times a day, so it's not affected any of the preparations. We've still got a couple of days, and I'm sure he'll be fine for the weekend. I think Eddie being Eddie, I think even if he's not fine for the weekend, he will still be on that bench on Sunday, whether he's feeling 100% or not. These games against Manchester United are not games that you want to miss, are they? You want to be in them. You want to take part in them. And Eddie being Eddie, the way he is, he will not want to be anywhere else, even if he's ill, than absolutely being on that bench on Sunday and dictating the things for Newcastle United. Johnny says Newcastle United's links with Dominic Calvert-Lewin have resurfaced as the Magpies head into the summer window. Yeah, the report from the Chronicle. Now, look, Calvert-Lewin would be a free. Now, look, I'm not sitting here saying we should go and get Calvert-Lewin by any stretch of the imagination. Look, he's not going to be a first-choice striker or anything like that. But if he was free, then we're not really taking a huge risk, are we, getting a free transfer in like Calvert-Lewin. He's got good experience. He's a decent player. He's not great, but he's decent. And could be a welcomed addition to the squad for free. But there is better players out there, obviously, absolutely 100%. No doubt about that. Now, Anthony Gordon, who, of course, there was rumours going around in the press that Anthony Gordon had a more serious injury than first thought and would probably miss quite a lot of time. Jason Tindall said he's had a decent week with the physios and was back out on the grass for a session yesterday. So we'll assess him today to see how he's responded to that. Then we'll have to make a late call on whether he's available for the bench on Sunday. Now, interestingly enough, he said the bench on Sunday. So no way is Anthony Gordon going to be in the starting lineup, even if he's past fit. That was an interesting comment, I thought, from Jason, as in the first 11 really have already been picked. And it doesn't really matter how Anthony Gordon, fitness-wise, is ahead of the game. I think it's going to be the same starting 11 that we've seen in the last few games. And rightly so. You know, they've won the Cup. They've won the next 2 Premier League games. Why should anything change? Have we been at our very best in the 2 Premier League games? Absolutely not. And nowhere near top gear. But we didn't need to be at top gear against Leicester. We cruised through that game. Yes, the second half was dull and boring and whatever it was. But at this point of the season, I really don't give a damn. I'm more bothered about picking up the 3 points and getting into the Champions League and going through all that experience again with the new format of the Champions League, of course. So we will be facing a completely different format to what we faced 2 years ago in the Champions League. So I'm excited about that. And these players deserve to keep the places. You talk about Harvey Barnes. Well, Harvey Barnes has done everything he possibly can to fill in for Anthony Gordon, and he's done it really well. You know, he's providing goals, he's scoring goals. Anthony Gordon probably gives us a lot more pace than what Barnes does, but they're very different players, each to their own. So he's come in and done a good job. But it will be a boost if Anthony Gordon is on the bench, absolutely. You know, if we could call on Gordon if we need him for the last half an hour of the game, then so be it. But it looks like he's still struggling a little bit. The fact that he's only been on the grass once for one session this week, but he's been with the physios the rest of the time. That says to me that maybe he's not going to be anywhere near 100% fit for Sunday, but fit enough to go on the bench and maybe come on for 20 minutes, half an hour. That's the way I'm looking at that comment on Anthony Gordon. But again, it will be a huge boost to have him back in the squad. It'll be a boost to the dressing room and certainly a boost to the fans. Now, he did speak a bit about the win at Leicester on Monday. He says, we've been really pleased. When you come off the back of such a high of winning the cup final, there's always the potential you lose your focus from the league form that is so important for us. We delivered 2 good performances, not our best performances, but the most important thing was getting the results, and I think the lads deserve a lot of credit for that. And he's absolutely right. Because we're not at our best in the 2 Premier League performances, but we've got the points. And I think Tindall there is sort of backing up what I said a few minutes ago about it's about the 3 points now at this stage of the season. It's about getting the wins on the board and maintaining our place in the top 5 in the Premier League. That is by far more important than any performance that we're going to see over the final few games of the season, in my opinion. You know, yes, it's nice when you can combine a win with a really good performance, no doubt about it. And you're always happy when you go and watch a game of football. Your team's played well and won. But at this stage of the season, for me, it's all about battling for those 3 points and getting them no matter what. So even if you're not playing very well, you still scrape out the 3 points, because for me, that is what qualifying for the Champions League is all about. You know, we have to look at it like that. That even if we're not playing very well, qualifying for the Champions League is of vital importance to this football club. And for the summer, of course, with the elite players that we can attract to the football club, should we make the Champions League. So performances kind of take a back seat. But yes, we'll always analyse game by game and say, well, the performance wasn't great, but we won. And that was similar. I mean, Leicester, the second half was just it was awful to watch. I mean, it wasn't a great football match anyway, but, you know, the second half was dull. You know, we didn't really push Leicester like maybe we could have and got a few more goals, but, you know, I'd rather get the 3 points against Leicester and go out against Manchester United on Sunday and absolutely stuff them and play well. But again, if we win by a couple of goals and we didn't play that well, I don't care. It's 3 points, and that's all that we will count on when it comes to the end of the season. I don't want to look back over these at the end of the season over these games in the run-in and think, we should have got points there. We should have got points there. It's all about points at this stage of the season. We've got the trophy win. Let's get up there and qualify for the Champions League. Now, on the final 8 games of the season, Jason said, with 8 games to go, there are a lot of teams fighting for the same as what we are. All we can control is our own performances and what we do. The most important thing is that we approach every game as we have done all season and give the best account of ourselves. Hopefully, that will be enough to achieve our end goal. Now, there's no doubt, if you look at that squad at the minute, their main goal now for the rest of the season is top 5, is finishing in the Champions League. That is their main goal. And I think despite us winning a trophy and ending that 70-year domestic monkey on our back kind of thing, I think if we don't qualify for the Champions League, given the position we are in now, I think the players and the staff will be very disappointed. We'll be gutted if we miss out on the Champions League. I know we've got European football. That's already in the bag. But you're talking about the pinnacle of European football, the pinnacle of club football, where you play against the very best teams in Europe. Newcastle United want to be part of that. And it's not just the money. It's the global pull that we will have. We will, if we can be a regular Champions League team, Newcastle United will be talked about in world football just as the likes of Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, etc. are now. That's where PIF want to take us, and that's where, in my opinion, we need to be. So I just genuinely believe that we have a wonderful opportunity here to get in the top 5. And what a season, guys. What a season that would have been. Who'd have thought, when we started this season and we were all doing our predictions, yes, everybody wanted to finish top 4 and try and get back in the Champions League because of the experience that we all had 2 years ago. It was a fantastic run in the Champions League. It was brilliant to watch. And to be honest, we should have been through to the next phase if it wasn't for a ridiculous penalty in Paris. So we want that again. Of course we do. And what a season. If somebody had told me would win a domestic trophy and qualify for the Champions League at the start of this year, I would have snapped the hands off. Snap the hands off. Agent Texas, I would be okay with the Europa, Paul. Be honest that I said I wanted Champions League. Listen, that's a good point. We're in Europa at the minute. Okay, that's guaranteed now. But the position that this football club is in now, we want Champions League, don't we? Come on, it's in our own hands now. It's there for the taking. And I'd be absolutely delighted. And I'm sure every other Newcastle fan would be, the players would be. It opens up so many more doors. And certainly for players coming in the summer, that's the biggest door you can ask for, is when you go to a player and you want to sign an elite footballer and you say, we've got Champions League football, you will be in the Champions League and playing for a wonderful football club. And you can show them the Carabao Cup celebrations. You can show them whatever for the actual selling of the football club. But the Champions League, being involved in that, is going to be right up there with these footballers. So it opens huge. And I'm sure that's why Eddie and Jason probably behind the scenes are saying, we've got to get this, guys. We've got to get this Champions League. This is massive to our football club. This opens doors that we wouldn't necessarily have in the Europa, despite that being brilliant, being back in Europe, undoubtedly. But a trophy and a Champions League finish, wow. I mean, that people will look back and say that season, this could be the season that really turned everything around for Newcastle. Not the takeover season, not getting into the Champions League the first time or a cup final, but this season right now, winning the cup, and a Champions League qualification place, that could be the very, very turning point since the takeover that PIF have been looking for. And an opportunity to go and expand this football club across the world and become one of Europe's elite, which they have promised us. It opens so many doors. I would love to be back in the Champions League. Fubar, I know what you're saying. From a football sense, we'd have a better chance of winning the Europa League, but financial-wise, Champions League, exactly. But listen, we can be competitive in the Champions League. We really can. If we bring in some elite players in the summer and use that Champions League as a pull to get these guys in, I think we can compete. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, we're going to win the Champions League. Absolutely not. But I'm talking about competing with quite a lot of the best teams around Europe. We did it 2 years ago. We competed with Dortmund, we competed with PSG, and we competed with Milan. I think we were unfortunate at home to Milan. We were very unfortunate in Paris. Things could have been very, very different. But I'm just really excited about where, the Champions League could take us. And it's all in our own hands. We do what we've got to do for the rest of the season, and we will be back in the Champions League 100%. And what a bloody season that is. Nobody thought that we'd get that. But I tell you what, even during the transfer windows, when we brought nobody in, and then when the transfer window closed in January, everybody was again saying, oh, bloody hell. We brought nobody in. The squad's threadbare. How are we going to cope with games? How are we going to, do this or that? Hey, we're not far away now from completing an absolutely awesome season. So the lads have to be switched on, and I'm sure they will for the rest of the campaign. I'm not worried about the guys being up for the game against Manchester United, because we know there will be. It's going to be a huge game on Sunday. The atmosphere will be fantastic, and I expect us to go out there and win the game. I think we are too good right now for Manchester United, especially if they keep faith with Onana, which I think will be a bonkers decision. Now, Jason Tindall was asked finally about Newcastle United. Basically the Premier League and the Champions League spot, having a 5th position this season. And he says, we're in a position that we would have wanted to be in with 8 games to go. There are a lot of teams fighting for those positions. We've got a busy week coming up, but the most important thing is the Man United game and making sure we prepare right for that. If we can deliver a performance and get the result we want, it takes us one step closer to where we want to go. So the mindset is very much on Manchester United on Sunday, as you would expect. I think Eddie would have said the same thing. We're not thinking any further. We're not looking at the Palace game or anything further than that. We are sticking to Sunday's game against Manchester United. They will always say that, because Manchester United is the next game. Manchester United is the most important game, without any doubt about it. And I'm really looking forward to this game on Sunday, because I love it when we turn Manchester United over. Because of all the stuff that's gone on in the past with Manchester United, it's brilliant to get one over them. The Carabao Cup 2 years ago, it was deflating coming out of Wembley. I mean, I know 2 years later, it's very different for the fans that were there this time around coming out of Wembley. But seeing all those Manchester United fans, really rubbing it in our faces. And it was nice to beat them a few weeks later, of course, in the league at St. James's Park. But this time around, they're having an awful, awful season. They are a bottom half Premier League team this season. And just wherever you look, there's negativity around Old Trafford. And I want us to go out on Sunday and really stick the knife in and twist it. Not just stick it in, but twist it. And really hurt Manchester United. But I do think with what Goldbridge said last night, I tend to agree that maybe they need to focus on that Europa League and win it to enable them to play in the Champions League next season. It's massive for them. So will Amarim put out a strong side, or will he put out a lot of second teamers on Sunday? It doesn't matter to me what Manchester United side goes out there, of course. I just want to see Newcastle United dominate and Newcastle United win the game. That's all I care about. But if Manchester United are looking forward to the Europa League and resting some players, I don't care about that either. That will do us the world of good. Still go out and stuff the buggers. Because I'm only focused on Newcastle United and focused on Newcastle United being back in the Champions League, which I think everybody wants. There's no doubt that is the way Tindall was talking this morning. That is the goal now for the players, to get back to that golden land of Champions League football, where we had such a wonderful time 2 years ago. It was incredible hearing the Champions League music back at St. James's Park. But I think next time around, we are going to be in a very different situation to what we were last time. Lessons were learned. Squad will be bigger, better players, and a new format, of course, and a new format in the Premier League. So a lot to look forward to, guys. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting run-in. It's going to be a very interesting summer. Off to Singapore, of course, and then what other games they announce in due course. But hopefully by the time we go on that tour of Singapore, Newcastle United are a Champions League team for the following season, which will be incredible. And, of course, some players in the door to go on that trip as well. But there you go. That is the latest news and the press conference reaction show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good crowd in this morning. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed the show, don't forget to give it a like, guys, before you leave. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you like what you see, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. It's a fantastic, up and growing rapidly channel with a fantastic community. Please come and join us by hitting the button. But don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And of course, thank you to channel sponsor Mamaroo Records. They're based in Whitley Bay for all your music needs, guys. If ever you want to buy vinyl, CDs, gift cards, a bit of music merchandise or sporting merchandise, head into Whitley Bay. Go and see Steve. Tell him you're a TTR viewer and he'll do you a really good deal. But if you can't get into the store, check them out online. It's pinned at the top of the description. Please give your local stores your support rather than using the big chains. This is where it all counts. So support Steve and Mamaroo Records. We're back tonight, 7 o'clock, to start your weekend the right way and with a good laugh. There is a disclaimer on the description this time around. If you are easily offended, do not watch the show. It's as simple as that. It's all seriousness drops out of it. We let our hair down for one show a week where we can all have a good laugh and look forward to the upcoming weekend. That's what we're going to do again tonight. So enjoy the rest of your day, folks. We'll see you back at 7. Take care.
Come back and check on Sea Breeze.